In the vast and unforgiving galaxy of Warhammer 40k, power is the only law, and survival is often a fleeting luxury. Among the countless horrors lurking in the immaterium and the physical universe, there exists a shadowy figure whose name is whispered in fear and loathing even among the most ruthless beings. Asdrubael Vect, the supreme overlord of the Drukhari, stands as a testament to the cunning, cruelty, and unrelenting ambition that define the denizens of Kamara. Yet, what truly sets him apart is not just his iron grip over a society of treacherous predators, but the unparalleled fear he instills, even among the forces of chaos itself. To understand why chaos would fear such a mortal, or if mortal is even an apt description, we must first delve into the unique nature of Kamara, the Drukhari, and their merciless ruler. Kamara is no ordinary city, but a sprawling labyrinth of towering spires and endless shadows existing within the webway, a dimension that is neither fully real nor wholly unreal. Here, the Drukhari, also known as the Dark Eldar, flourish in their decadent pursuit of pain and suffering, feeding on the agony of others to stave off the predations of Slaanesh, the chaos god of excess. In such an environment, trust is a death sentence, and betrayal is a currency. It is within this nightmarish backdrop that Asdrubael Vect rose from obscurity to dominate the Drukhari. His journey from a lowly slave to the undisputed ruler of Kamara is a saga of unparalleled ingenuity, manipulation, and ruthless pragmatism. Unlike the brutish orcs or the rigid hierarchies of the Imperium of Man, Vect's ascension was not won through sheer force, but through the calculated use of intrigue, deception, and an unmatched understanding of his enemy's weaknesses. However, Vect's story is not merely one of personal ambition. His reign represents a turning point in the history of the Drukhari, marking the consolidation of power under a single individual in a society that thrives on chaos and anarchy. His influence extends far beyond the darkened corridors of Kamara, shaping the actions and fears of factions across the galaxy. Even the forces of chaos, beings of immeasurable power and malice, have learned to tread cautiously where Vect's name is concerned. In this exploration, we will uncover the many facets of Asdrubael Vect's rule and persona, dissecting why even the unholy horrors of chaos find reason to fear him. From the key players who shaped his rise to power, to the dark technologies and tactics he employs, to the mysteries that still shroud his existence, we will piece together the puzzle of this enigmatic tyrant, prepared to enter a world of darkness, where the only certainty is that nothing and no one can be trusted. This is the story of Asdrubael Vect, a being who defies the natural order of the galaxy, and whose legacy is one of unparalleled terror. Asdrubael Vect's saga is populated by a rich tapestry of individuals, factions, and entities, each with a distinct role in shaping his rise and maintaining his dominance. Central to this story are the Drukhari themselves, a cruel and decadent offshoot of the Eldari race. Their society, built upon suffering and sustained by the agony of others, provides the perfect stage for Vect's machinations. Among them, the Cabal of the Black Heart emerges as the most powerful and feared faction, serving as Vect's personal power base. This Cabal's unmatched reach and resources are integral to his control over Kamara. The High Archons of the rival Cabals, constantly vying for supremacy, form another critical group. These leaders, driven by their insatiable thirst for power, present both threats and opportunities to Vect. Their intrigues and schemes fuel the ceaseless cycle of betrayal that defines Drukhari society, but they also serve as tools and pawns in his greater plans. Notable among these are figures like Lady Malice, whose enigmatic ambitions make her a figure of both fascination and danger. Beyond the Cabals, the Haemonkuli Covens play a crucial role. These twisted flesh-crafters are masters of biomanipulation and the grotesque arts of pain. While their focus is often on their own experiments and creations, they are indispensable allies to Vect, providing him with the means to maintain his rule through terror and grotesque innovation. Their allegiance is not born of loyalty, but of calculated benefit, adding an additional layer of precariousness to their relationship with the Supreme Overlord. The witch cults, with their blood-soaked arenas and unparalleled skill in combat, add another dimension to the power dynamics of Comera. Though their interests often lie in their own displays of martial prowess, their influence cannot be ignored. Their leaders, the succubi, are formidable figures whose alliances can shift the balance of power within the Dark City. Vect's ability to leverage their savage nature is a testament to his skill in manipulation. The mandrakes, shadowy assassins, and agents of the obscure bring a more mysterious presence to this story. Lurking in the twilight realms of Comera, their motives and loyalties remain uncertain. Yet, their deadly precision and uncanny abilities make them both invaluable tools and potential threats to Vect's reign. Outside the Drukhari, the influence of chaos looms large. The ruinous powers, ever watchful for opportunities to exploit, regard Vect with a mix of fascination and caution. Their mortal agents, from the heretic warbands of the Eye of Terror to the dark sorcerers who dabble in the webway, occasionally intersect with Vect's plans. Their interactions with him reveal the complex web of fear and respect that surrounds the Supreme Overlord. Lastly, the Imperium of Man, though largely unaware of Vect's full capabilities, indirectly plays a part in this narrative. Imperial forces, particularly the Inquisition and certain militant orders, have clashed with the Drukhari on numerous occasions. These encounters, while often one-sided, underscore the broader galactic context in which Vect operates. Their ignorance of his true power serves as both a shield and a challenge. Each of these participants contributes uniquely to the intricate dance of power, ambition, and survival that defines Asdrubael Vect's story. Their roles, while varied, are all essential threads in the larger tapestry of his rise to supremacy and the fear he instills across the galaxy. Asdrubael Vect's rise to supremacy in Comera unfolded across several key phases, each marked by calculated moves that displayed his unmatched cunning and ruthless ambition. The first significant stage began in obscurity, with Vect's early life as a slave. While most would languish under the yoke of servitude, Vect used his position to observe the dynamics of power in Comera, learning the vulnerabilities of its elite. His keen intelligence allowed him to exploit the weaknesses of his masters, setting in motion his escape and eventual rise to prominence. Following his escape, Vect formed his own cabal, the Black Heart. At first, it was a minor faction within the labyrinthine power struggles of Comera, but it quickly became a force to be reckoned with. By leveraging alliances, manipulating rivals, and orchestrating betrayals, Vect steadily expanded the influence of the Black Heart. This period of consolidation saw him eliminate those who underestimated him, often through schemes so elaborate that his enemies' downfall appeared as if by their own hands. Vect's next critical move came when he orchestrated the downfall of the ancient ruling class of Comera, the Elder Thanes. These figures had long held sway over the Dark City, representing the vestiges of Aldari nobility. Vect positioned himself as a revolutionary figure, promising to break the stagnant rule of the Old Guard and usher in a new era of dominance for the Drukhari. Through a combination of outright assassination, manipulation of public sentiment, and the strategic deployment of his growing cabal, Vect dismantled their power structure. This marked a turning point, as it allowed him to present himself as a unifier in a society defined by division. Having solidified his power base, Vect then turned his attention to securing control over the Haemonghuli covens. These master fleshcrafters held the key to much of the terror that sustains Drukhari society, and their cooperation was essential for maintaining his dominance. Through carefully negotiated deals, promises of protection, and demonstrations of his own cruelty, Vect ensured their allegiance. This alliance not only bolstered his power, but also gave him access to horrific innovations that would become central to his reign. Vect's consolidation of power did not end within the confines of Comera. He extended his influence into the webway, claiming control over its key nodes and routes. By doing so, he ensured that his cabal could strike anywhere in the galaxy with unparalleled speed and precision. His mastery over the webway also enabled him to keep potential challengers in check, as he could cut them off from vital resources or allies. A critical phase in his rise involved his dealings with chaos. Rather than engaging them in open conflict, Vect employed his trademark cunning to outmaneuver and destabilize their efforts within the webway. Through covert operations, manipulation of rival factions, and the occasional calculated display of force, he demonstrated that even the servants of the ruinous powers were not beyond his reach. These actions earned him a reputation that extended far beyond Comera, as whispers of his schemes began to spread throughout the galaxy. Vect's supremacy was cemented with his declaration as Supreme Overlord, a title that no other Drukhari had claimed with such authority. By this point, the Blackheart had grown to be the most powerful cabal in Comera, its resources and reach unmatched. Vect's rule was characterized by the imposition of a new order, where loyalty to him was ensured through a combination of fear, manipulation, and the promise of shared spoils. Even after reaching the zenith of his power, Vect continued to evolve his methods. He ensured the survival of his rule by remaining one step ahead of his enemies, employing spies, assassins, and subterfuge to neutralize threats before they could materialize. His use of psychological warfare, combined with the omnipresent dread of his reprisals, created an environment where opposition to his rule became almost unthinkable. Throughout these phases, Vect displayed an ability to adapt to shifting circumstances and leverage every opportunity to his advantage. From a position of powerlessness, he rose to embody the very essence of what it means to rule in Comera, ensuring that his name would be etched into the annals of Drukhari history and feared even beyond its darkened borders. The turning point in Asdrubael Vect's ascent to absolute dominance over Comera came with a calculated and audacious betrayal that would reshape the power dynamics of the Drukhari forever. The ancient Elder Thines, remnants of a bygone era, had long held sway over the Dark City, commanding respect and fear through their inherited status and arcane knowledge. Their rule, however, was deeply entrenched in stagnation, creating an environment ripe for upheaval. Vect recognized this vulnerability and made the bold decision to eliminate this ruling class entirely. This pivotal moment was not a simple coup, but a masterfully orchestrated series of events designed to dismantle the Elder Thane's power without exposing himself to unnecessary risk. Vect began by sowing discontent among the lower cabals and influential figures within the Homunculi covens, exploiting their frustrations with the Elder Thane's dominance. He presented himself as a visionary leader who could break the chains of tradition and offer a new path for the Drukhari, a path defined by opportunity and unrestrained ambition. To ensure the success of his plan, Vect manipulated the Elder Thanes into believing they faced threats from external forces, including chaos incursions and rival cabals. This tactic forced them to focus their resources outward, while neglecting the internal discontent growing within their ranks. At the same time, Vect covertly armed and empowered those who had pledged allegiance to him, creating a clandestine network of operatives ready to strike when the moment was right. The decisive act came during a grand gathering in Comera, a rare assembly of the Elder Thanes and their closest allies. Under the guise of forging unity against perceived external threats, Vect unleashed his meticulously planned assault. His forces struck with precision, eliminating key figures among the Elder Thanes while their defenses were compromised. What made this act extraordinary was not merely the brutality of the attack, but the psychological impact it had on the Drukhari as a whole. Vect used this moment to declare the end of the Elder Thanes era and the beginning of a new order under his leadership. To solidify his position, he presented himself as a unifier rather than a usurper. He did not demand loyalty outright, but instead offered it as a mutually beneficial arrangement. Those who aligned with him were rewarded with power, resources, and protection, while those who resisted faced annihilation. This single decision not only eradicated the old guard, but also centralized power in a way that had never been seen in Kamara. Vect's ability to exploit the inherent treachery of Drukhari society while positioning himself as an indispensable figure marked the turning point that secured his status as Supreme Overlord. It was this act that transformed him from a powerful Cabal leader into a figure whose name would command fear across the galaxy. The ripple effects of this betrayal extended far beyond Kamara. It sent a clear message to other factions, including Chaos, that Vect was a force to be reckoned with, a being whose ambition and cunning could rival even the most insidious of the galaxy's powers. This singular act of calculated ruthlessness cemented his legacy as a ruler who would stop at nothing to secure his dominance, and instilled a fear of his reach that transcended even the dark corridors of the Webway. The rise of Asdrubael Vect to the position of Supreme Overlord of Kamara had profound and immediate effects across the galaxy, altering the balance of power in ways that reverberated far beyond the Webway. Vect's consolidation of authority transformed the Drukhari from a loose, fractured collection of rival cabals into a far more coordinated and dangerous force. Under his rule, the Dark City became a unified hub of terror, capable of launching raids with a level of efficiency and brutality that eclipsed anything seen before. The most immediate impact was the intensification of the Drukhari raids on the galaxy's inhabited worlds. With the resources of the Black Heart now at the forefront of Drukhari society, their incursions became more frequent, targeting not only isolated planets but also more heavily defended systems. Entire populations were abducted in coordinated sweeps, with their suffering fueling the insatiable appetites of Kamara. These attacks disrupted trade routes, destabilized sectors, and created a climate of fear that paralyzed both smaller factions and larger empires, including the Imperium of Man. Vect's centralization of power also introduced a new level of strategic planning to Drukhari operations. No longer bound by the petty squabbles of competing cabals, Vect orchestrated campaigns that served his broader goals. He utilized the Webway with unmatched precision, striking at key targets and vanishing before any effective countermeasures could be enacted. This tactical superiority allowed the Drukhari to maintain the element of surprise, keeping their enemies perpetually on the defensive. The fear of Vect's reach extended even to Chaos. While the servants of the ruinous powers were accustomed to striking terror into their foes, they found themselves uniquely vulnerable to the machinations of the Supreme Overlord. Vect's mastery of the Webway gave him access to routes that bypassed even the protective barriers of the warp, allowing him to strike at Chaos strongholds with terrifying unpredictability. His ability to manipulate Chaos cults and factions further destabilized the forces of the ruinous powers, creating rifts and rivalries that weakened their collective strength. The political dynamics of Kamara itself were irrevocably altered. Vect's rise eliminated much of the anarchic infighting that had defined the Dark City for millennia, replacing it with a hierarchy centered on loyalty to his rule. While treachery remained an inherent part of Drukhari culture, the penalties for challenging Vect's authority were so severe that even the most ambitious rivals hesitated. This shift allowed Kamara to project its influence outward more effectively, rather than being consumed by internal struggles. Vect's influence was also felt in the alliances and rivalries he cultivated beyond Kamara. He struck deals with rogue traders, mercenary bands, and even renegade elements of the Imperium, leveraging these relationships to gain resources, information, and leverage against his enemies. His reputation as a figure who could not be trusted but always delivered results ensured that he remained a pivotal player in the galaxy's endless power struggles. Perhaps the most chilling impact of Vect's reign was the psychological effect it had on those who crossed paths with him or his forces. Stories of his cunning and ruthlessness spread far and wide, creating an aura of inevitability around his actions. This perception of invincibility made resistance to the Drukhari seem futile to many, leading some to surrender without a fight or even seek alliances with the Supreme Overlord in the hope of being spared his wrath. In the broader galactic context, Vect's rule over Kamara acted as a dark counterbalance to other major powers. His presence ensured that no faction, whether Imperial, Xenos, or Chaotic, could ignore the threat posed by the Drukhari. The fear and chaos he spread became as much a weapon as the blades and toxins wielded by his followers, making him one of the most influential and feared figures in the galaxy. Asdrubael Vect's dominance over Kamara and his ability to inspire fear, even among the forces of chaos, stem from a combination of unique aspects that define his rule, tactics, and the tools at his disposal. Central to his success is his unparalleled mastery of the webway. Unlike most who view the labyrinthine corridors as merely a means of transit, Vect wields the webway itself as both a strategic asset and a weapon. He possesses an intimate knowledge of its hidden routes, forgotten nodes, and secret pathways, allowing him to outmaneuver enemies, strike at targets with unerring precision, and evade retaliation with ease. The Cabal of the Black Heart, the most powerful faction under his command, is another defining feature of his rule. While other cabals focus on specific methods of plunder or domination, the Black Heart operates as a comprehensive extension of Vect's will. Its warriors, war machines, and raiding fleets are equipped with resources and technologies that surpass those of rival cabals. This superiority is a direct result of Vect's meticulous accumulation of wealth and knowledge, as well as his ability to coerce or destroy those who withhold valuable assets. Vect's understanding of psychological warfare is unparalleled. He recognizes that terror is a more potent weapon than physical strength alone. Through carefully staged displays of brutality, betrayals engineered to shatter trust among his enemies, and a calculated unpredictability, he cultivates an aura of invincibility. His name alone inspires dread, a reputation reinforced by his ability to strike without warning and vanish before his enemies can mount a defense. The homunculi covens play a vital role in his arsenal of power. These grotesque masters of biomanipulation and pain have long been integral to Drukhari society, but under Vect's rule, their contributions reach new heights. Their creations, ranging from nightmarish war beasts to engineered torture devices, are unmatched in their ability to instill fear and subjugate foes. Vect's alliances with the homunculi ensure that he has exclusive access to some of their most horrifying innovations, granting him an edge over both his internal rivals and external adversaries. The slave markets of Kamara, a cornerstone of Drukhari economy and culture, also serve as a unique tool in Vect's strategy. Under his oversight, these markets have become more than just centers for the trade of flesh. They are integral to his power structure, allowing him to reward loyal followers with slaves while simultaneously breaking the spirit of captured enemies. The sheer scale and organization of these operations, coupled with their role in sustaining the Drukhari through the agony they harvest, ensure that Vect remains the linchpin of Kamara's economy. Another defining aspect of Vect's rule is his ability to manipulate external factions. While many Drukhari are content to raid indiscriminately, Vect approaches the galaxy with a strategic mindset. He exploits the weaknesses of other races, manipulating them into serving his broader goals. Whether through subtle alliances, misinformation, or covert sabotage, he ensures that his enemies are too distracted by their own conflicts to focus on him. Vect's war gear and personal armory are tailored to his cunning and lethal approach. Rather than relying on overwhelming force, he employs weapons and tools designed for precision and psychological impact. These include devices capable of causing excruciating pain, cloaking technologies that enable him to disappear into the shadows, and fleets equipped to dominate both in space and on land. His raiding ships are outfitted with technology that ensures swift and devastating strikes, leaving little chance for resistance. Finally, Vect's longevity and ability to adapt set him apart even among the Drukhari. While others fall victim to their own arrogance or the schemes of their rivals, Vect evolves with every challenge. He uses every failure as a lesson, turning setbacks into opportunities to strengthen his position. This adaptability, combined with his ruthless intellect, ensures that he remains one step ahead of those who would oppose him. It is this blend of strategy, innovation, and terror that makes him a force even chaos must respect. Asdrubael Vect's ascension and enduring rule over Kamara have drawn a host of notable figures into his orbit, each with a distinct personality, motivation, and role in the intricate web of power that defines Drukhari society. These individuals, whether allies, rivals, or tools in Vect's schemes, illuminate the complexities of his reign and the broader dynamics of the Dark City. Lady Melis is one of the most enigmatic and dangerous figures in Vect's sphere. Renowned for her charisma and razor-sharp intellect, she commands the Cabal of the Poisoned Tongue, a faction infamous for its cunning and guile. Melis's motivations are rooted in her ambition to rival Vect's dominance, though she approaches this goal with calculated patience. Unlike others who have openly challenged Vect, she is known for subtlety, preferring to build her influence through intricate schemes and alliances. Her mastery of political manipulation and her mysterious connection to the Warp make her both a potential threat and an indispensable ally in the shifting tides of Kamara. Urian Rakarth, the most infamous of the homunculi, stands as a figure of twisted genius. His motivations are less about power in the conventional sense and more about his insatiable curiosity for pushing the boundaries of pain and biomanipulation. Rakarth's creations, ranging from grotesque monstrosities to instruments of unimaginable agony, have become essential tools in maintaining Vect's authority. Despite his alliances with the Supreme Overlord, Rakarth is far from a loyal servant. His allegiance is based purely on the freedom Vect affords him to pursue his macabre experiments. His influence extends deep into the Covens, making him a significant player in the balance of power within Kamara. Archon Zelian, leader of the Cabal of the White Flames, is another prominent figure whose fate has been intertwined with Vect's reign. Zelian's fiery temperament and hunger for glory have earned her both admiration and fear among her peers. Her Cabal's military strength and tactical prowess have been critical in several of Vect's campaigns. However, her impetuous nature often places her at odds with Vect's methodical approach, creating a volatile relationship that oscillates between cooperation and tension. Zelian's willingness to take bold risks has made her a formidable force, though it also leaves her vulnerable to Vect's manipulations. Drazar, the enigmatic executioner of the Incubi, represents a unique element in Vect's circle of influence. While not directly tied to any Cabal, Drazar's unparalleled skill in combat and his mysterious origins have made him a figure of fascination and fear. His motivations remain inscrutable, as he speaks only through his actions, often appearing at key moments to tip the balance of power. Though Vect has not claimed direct control over Drazar, the executioner's presence in Kamara serves as a reminder of the latent dangers lurking within the city's shadows. The Decapitator, a mandrake of terrifying reputation, is another figure whose existence underscores the darker facets of Kamara's society. Known for his supernatural ability to slip between dimensions and his penchant for collecting the severed heads of his victims, the Decapitator operates on the periphery of Vect's domain. While his motivations are shrouded in mystery, his actions often intersect with Vect's interests, whether as an agent of chaos or an unwitting tool in the Supreme Overlord's schemes. The Decapitator's presence adds an element of unpredictability to the power dynamics of the Dark City. Even outside of Kamara, Vect's reach touches notable figures in the galaxy. The arch-heretics of chaos, wary of Vect's manipulations, have occasionally found themselves ensnared in his schemes. These figures, driven by their own lust for power, often underestimate the Supreme Overlord's capacity for subterfuge, leading to catastrophic consequences for their plans. Vect's ability to exploit the hubris of such individuals further solidifies his reputation as a force to be reckoned with. Each of these individuals contributes uniquely to the complex ecosystem of power, ambition, and survival that defines Vect's reign. Their personalities, motivations, and actions not only shape the events within Chimera, but also highlight the intricate interplay of fear, loyalty, and betrayal that makes the Supreme Overlord's rule both enduring and unparalleled. Asdrubael Vect's reign is shrouded in mysteries and unanswered questions, fueling speculation and paranoia across Chimera and beyond. His enigmatic nature and calculated concealment of critical details about his life, motives, and capabilities create an aura of uncertainty, even among his closest allies and fiercest rivals. These unanswered questions have become as much a part of his power as the strength of the Blackheart itself. One of the most persistent mysteries is the full extent of Vect's origins. While it is widely known that he began life as a lowly slave, the specifics of his early years remain clouded in speculation. How he managed to escape his chains and rise to prominence in a society designed to keep individuals in their assigned roles is a question that has intrigued and baffled many. Some whisper of forbidden knowledge or ancient secrets uncovered during his servitude, while others believe his cunning alone allowed him to manipulate his way out of obscurity. The truth of this period remains locked away in Vect's mind, inaccessible to anyone but himself. Another enigma lies in his relationship with the Webway. Vect's mastery over its labyrinthine passages is unparalleled, yet the exact methods by which he acquired this knowledge are unknown. Did he uncover ancient Eldari artifacts that revealed the secrets of the Webway, or was his understanding gleaned from alliances with beings older than Chimera itself? The Webway is an inherently unstable and dangerous realm, and Vect's ability to navigate and exploit it so effectively raises questions about what hidden resources or pacts he may have forged to secure his dominion over its corridors. Vect's longevity is another subject of speculation. While Drukhari society has access to means of extending life through agony and the work of homunculi, Vect's continued presence at the pinnacle of power for millennia suggests he possesses a deeper, perhaps unique, form of resilience. Some theorize that he has made secret deals with the homunculi covens to ensure his immortality, offering them knowledge or power in exchange for their assistance. Others suspect darker bargains, perhaps with entities beyond the physical realm, though such theories are whispered only in the deepest shadows of the Dark City. The exact limits of his power within Chimera are equally unclear. While his dominance over the Cabals and the homunculi is evident, his influence over other factions, such as the witch cults and the shadowy mandrakes, is less well defined. There are rumors that some of these groups operate outside even his grasp, existing as potential threats to his reign. Whether Vect tolerates their independence or whether they have simply eluded his control remains a question that keeps the balance of power in Chimera teetering on the edge. Perhaps the most unsettling mystery surrounding Vect is his ability to manipulate chaos itself. His schemes often intersect with the goals of the ruinous powers, yet he manages to avoid being ensnared by their influence. Some speculate that Vect possesses a unique immunity to the temptations of chaos, perhaps stemming from his hatred of Slaanesh and the existential threat the god poses to the Drukhari. Others suggest he has found ways to weaponize chaos against itself, exploiting its agents and twisting their plans to serve his own ends. How he achieves this, and whether there are limits to his ability to defy such a pervasive and insidious force, remains unknown. Vect's ultimate ambitions are another source of endless debate. While he rules Chimera with absolute authority, his actions often hint at goals that extend beyond the Dark City. Does he seek to reshape the Drukhari into a unified force capable of challenging the galaxy's major powers, or is his focus solely on perpetuating his own survival and supremacy? His long-term strategies are obscured by layers of deception, leaving even his most loyal followers in doubt about the true scope of his plans. Finally, there is the question of his vulnerability. Despite his apparent invincibility, many believe there must be hidden weaknesses that could bring about his downfall. Whether these lie in personal flaws, undiscovered enemies, or overlooked threats within the webway is a subject of endless speculation. Vect's ability to maintain control over such a volatile society for so long suggests he is acutely aware of these potential dangers, but his careful concealment of such vulnerabilities only adds to the mystery. These unanswered questions and unresolved theories ensure that Vect's story is one of perpetual intrigue, his true nature and capabilities remaining as elusive and dangerous as the labyrinthine city he rules. It is this veil of uncertainty that cements his position as a figure both revered and feared, not only by the denizens of Comera, but by the galaxy at large. Asdrubael Vect's reign has left an indelible mark on the galaxy, with repercussions that continue to shape the course of events across millennia. His centralized rule over the Drukhari has solidified Comera as a dark superpower within the webway, ensuring its influence extends far beyond the city's shadowed spires. This enduring legacy is built on the foundation of terror, manipulation, and unrelenting ambition that has defined his leadership. One of the most significant long-term consequences of Vect's dominance is the transformation of Drukhari society itself. By consolidating power under the cabal of the Black Heart, he imposed a structure upon a civilization that thrives on chaos. This centralization has allowed the Drukhari to operate as a cohesive force, with Comera no longer fragmented by incessant internal wars. This unity, enforced through fear and calculated brutality, has made their raids across the galaxy more efficient and devastating, ensuring a steady flow of suffering to sustain their existence. The ripple effects of these raids destabilize entire sectors, weakening planetary defenses and economies, leaving the galaxy more vulnerable to other threats. Vect's influence has also redefined the role of the webway in galactic power dynamics. His unparalleled mastery of its routes and nodes has turned the webway into a strategic asset that rivals the warp itself in significance. This control grants the Drukhari unmatched mobility, enabling them to bypass conventional defenses and strike at will. The constant threat of their sudden appearances has forced the galaxy's other powers to divert resources to counter Drukhari incursions, reshaping military strategies and diplomatic priorities across the Imperium, xenos factions, and even chaos forces. Another long-term impact is the psychological effect Vect has had on his enemies. The mere mention of his name invokes fear, and his reputation for cunning and ruthlessness ensures that his adversaries approach any conflict with extreme caution. This perception of invulnerability has given him an edge in negotiations and battles, often discouraging opposition before it can coalesce. It has also fostered paranoia within rival factions, both in Comera and beyond, as they are never certain whether they are playing into Vect's schemes. Vect's reign has had profound implications for the balance of power between the galaxy's major players. His ability to manipulate chaos forces has introduced a destabilizing element into the plans of the ruinous powers. By exploiting the divisions within chaos factions and redirecting their focus toward their own conflicts, Vect has ensured that their attention remains fragmented. This interference has hindered Chaos's ability to mount unified campaigns, indirectly providing breathing room for the galaxy's other inhabitants, even as they contend with the Drukhari's predations. His role in reshaping Drukhari culture has also left a lasting legacy. By elevating ambition and cunning as the highest virtues, Vect has created a society that prizes intelligence and strategy over brute force. This cultural shift has ensured that the Drukhari remain a dynamic and evolving threat, capable of adapting to new challenges and maintaining their dominance within the webway. This evolution has also made it more difficult for external powers to predict or counter their actions, as the Drukhari continually refine their methods under Vect's influence. The long shadow of Vect's rule extends even into the future. His careful preservation of power, combined with his adaptability, suggests that his influence will persist as long as Kamara endures. His survival strategies ensure that any potential successors face monumental challenges in dismantling his legacy. Even in the unlikely event of his downfall, the structures and strategies he established will likely endure, perpetuating the Drukhari's dominance in the galaxy. Vect's impact also underscores the galaxy's broader themes of power and survival. His reign serves as a testament to the lengths individuals and civilizations will go to secure their existence, even at the expense of others. His story reflects the precarious balance of power in the Warhammer universe, where no faction can afford to underestimate the cunning and ambition of its enemies. As the galaxy continues to spiral into greater conflict, the legacy of Asdrubael Vect remains a constant, a dark reminder of the consequences of unchecked ambition and the enduring power of fear. Whether his influence wanes or persists, the echoes of his reign will resonate across the stars, shaping the destinies of those who dare to challenge or underestimate him.